Have you ever experienced a wave of fear so intense it felt like it stole the oxygen from your chest? I'm standing at the intersection of North Michigan Avenue in Chicago. The icy gusts rolling in from Lake Michigan slice across my face, but I'm oblivious to the cold. My attention is locked on the phone trembling in my palm. On the screen is an image that has torn my life apart beyond repair. It's a snapshot of my wife, Sarah. Her head is tipped back, laughter frozen mid-moment, her fingers resting far too comfortably on another man's arm. They're seated at a tucked-away table inside the RL restaurant just off Chicago Avenue, the same restaurant where I celebrated our 5th anniversary with her. I don't recognize the number that sent the picture. I don't even know who sent it. If you truly enjoy listening to stories like this, subscribe to the channel. Let us know where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. It's incredible to see how far these stories travel. For a decade, Sarah was the center of my universe. We created a life together inside a warm brownstone in Lincoln Park. I believed we were content, genuinely believed it. Yet in recent months, something had shifted. A quiet distance settled between us, a faint but persistent frost I couldn't explain. She began staying later at her marketing firm. Her phone always lay screen down beside the bed. The effortless laughter we once shared faded into strained, courteous exchanges. Whenever I tried to close that growing space, she dismissed my concerns. "Work's overwhelming right now," she would say, carefully avoiding my gaze. Somehow, I ended up feeling unreasonable, as if I were inventing problems. She was persuasive, so convincing that I began doubting my own instincts. I convinced myself that maybe I was the one at fault. Then came the anonymous message. One blurry photograph. At first, I clung to denial. I searched for harmless explanations. Maybe it was an old picture. Maybe it was business-related. But deep inside, a painful knot told me the truth. The collapse happened later that evening, alone in my home office. The magnitude of her betrayal, the embarrassment, the cruelty, it all struck at once. Our entire marriage felt staged, artificial. I broke under the weight of it. But sitting there, surrounded by framed images of a smiling couple that no longer existed, something hardened inside me. Sorrow transformed into something sharper, colder, not just heartbreak, resolve. I began investigating. I moved through my own house like a shadow, watching, listening, recording. I installed recovery software on our shared computer and uncovered, erased correspondence. The emails were nauseatingly affectionate, filled with nicknames and plans for hidden trips away. The other man's name was Mark, a senior executive at a competing firm. They'd connected at a conference 6 months earlier. The messages revealed everything. Their first encounter at the Langham Hotel, midday meals at the Gauge, their private jokes at my expense. They ridiculed my career as a high school history teacher, mocked my routines, dismissed my devotion to her. In their smug secrecy, they believed they were untouchable. Pretending became the hardest part. Each morning, I kissed her goodbye while my stomach churned. I listened as she described her difficult days, knowing she had likely spent her lunch break with him. Gradually, she grew more distant and more critical. She scrutinized everything I did, created conflicts out of nothing, as if preparing a narrative where I was the flawed husband and she the justified one. She was building her exit strategy, constructing a version of events where I would be the villain. But I was preparing something of my own. I needed an attorney, someone ruthless. After searching online, I found one with a reputation for dominating divorce court. Her name was Jessica Albright. We met in her modern office overlooking the Chicago River. I presented everything: printed emails, text exchanges, a detailed timeline of deception. She listened without reaction. When I finished, she met my eyes and said evenly, "We're not simply filing for divorce. We're going to dismantle her." For the first time in months, I felt a strange comfort. I wasn't fighting alone. As we assembled the case, Jessica asked for specifics about Mark. I gave her his full name and employer. She typed it into her computer, then paused. A flicker of something unreadable crossed her face before she concealed it. "That's interesting," she murmured. "Don't concern yourself with Mark. I'll take care of him." At the time, I didn't understand that reaction. I assumed it was just strategy. Trusting her was my first mistake. No, trusting her was the greatest fortune I'd ever had. The Plan we created was direct and merciless. Sarah would be served divorce papers at her company's annual awards gala massive public event, where she was scheduled to receive a major promotion. The timing was precise, as her CEO announced her name, and she stepped forward smiling. A process server walked onto the stage. The chatter in the ballroom died instantly as she was handed a thick envelope. Inside were printed copies of the evidence along with a formal petition for divorce citing adultery. The joy drained from her face, replaced by shock and horror. In one moment, her professional reputation disintegrated before colleagues and competitors alike. But that spectacle was only the opening move. The true blow came later. During the first formal meeting, Sarah and her attorney sat across from us. She still wore defiance like armor, glaring at me with contempt. Jessica calmly slid another document across the polished table that it was a second divorce filing. Sarah's lawyer opened it. His expression shifted. He looked at his client, then at the man seated beside her. Mark sat there ashen, visibly shaken. The petition had been filed by his wife. Jessica Albright. The silence that followed was suffocating. Sarah stared at Jessica, the formidable attorney she had unknowingly been battling, then at Mark, whose own life was unraveling, and finally at me. In that instant, realization dawned. This wasn't an accident or mere exposure. It was a meticulously crafted trap set by the two people they had betrayed most. Everything collapsed around them. That Sarah lost her position, her social circle, her standing in the industry. Mark forfeited his family and a substantial portion of his wealth in the settlement. Their carefully constructed world imploded entirely. Now the house is still. The photographs of us have been removed from the walls. Sometimes I wander through the vacant rooms, and I feel absolutely nothing at all.